And what's Trump trying to do? Raise your cost and standard of living. He's going to be in the Supreme Court. Even if we win, he'll still be in the Supreme Court in 9 days or 10 days, asking the Supreme Court, with our new justice, who was put on the court for the purpose of destroying the Affordable Care Act, to rip it out root and branch, eliminate it all. If they get their way, 100 million Americans will lose protections for pre-existing conditions, including 2.5 million Wisconsinites. 2.5, so if you have diabetes, you've had cancer, you've had breast cancer, whatever it is, whatever your pre-existing condition, you won't be able to afford it because they can jack up the price beyond your capacity. Women will once again be charged more for the same health care than a man is charged for just because they're a woman. People forget that that's what it was before we passed the Affordable Care Act. Look, Donald Trump thinks health care is a privilege. I think it's a right people should have. If we all get out and vote, we'll not only restore Obamacare, but we'll strengthen and build on it. So you can keep your private insurance, or you can choose a Medicare-like option that will add to Obamacare, which we wanted to do the first time, but couldn't get the votes. We'll increase subsidies to lower your premiums and deductibles, out-of-pocket spending, and surprise billings. And we will reduce the cost of prescriptions by 60%. I'm not making that up. That comes from saying we're going to insist, and we have the votes to do it in this next election, that Medicare can negotiate with the drug companies to say how much they're willing to pay for whatever drug they have. Look, folks, we're going to make sure we keep the protections for people with pre-existing conditions. Meanwhile, Social Security, the actuary of Social Security has said, if Donald Trump gets reelected, he says he's going to change Social Security. Based on the change he wants to make, the actuary at Social Security said Social Security will be bankrupt by 2023. I'm not making this stuff up. It's real. Folks, I'm going to protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And guess what? He's not going to be able to do it because we're going to win this election. Look, let's not forget how weak Donald Trump has been and chaotic. He talks about trade policy. My God, what a disaster he's been. Trump's trade policy has decimated, devastated the Wisconsin dairy industry. In 2017 to 2019, Wisconsin lost 15% of its dairy farms. And last year, Wisconsin lost more dairy farms than any state in the nation. Since the start of the trade war, Wisconsin has seen mass layoffs surge by 25%. And even before COVID hit, Wisconsin saw big declines in manufacturing jobs. After Trump rolled out his irresponsible tax giveaways, Harley-Davidson slashed 800 manufacturing jobs, repurchased almost $700 million of his own stock so the corporate heads could make a lot more money, and none of it went to the employees. And then shifted some of his production overseas. So much for helping. Look, my policies, right now, by the way, the deficit with China is higher than it was in our administration. Look, at the end of the Trump tax loopholes that incentivize companies to ship jobs overseas, these new laws that just got passed for real, adds 10%, I'm going to add a 10% surtax to any company that ships jobs overseas. And companies that invest in strengthening American manufacturing or bring jobs back home, I'm going to offer a 10% tax credit. And by the way, the President of the United States awards over $600 billion in contracts a year for our military, for all the things we build, federal buildings. Well, it's not a violation of any trade law. No one's done it, but I promise you I'm going to do it. Not a single solitary contract will be awarded unless all the products used by that contractor are made in America. All of them. Right here in America. And by the way, when I talk about my economic plan, it's not some liberal think tank that talks about how good it is. Moody's, a Wall Street major firm, has pointed out, after looking at my plan for an economy and his, that we will create 18.6 million jobs under the Biden plan. $1 trillion more in GDP than Trump. Folks, look, the fact is that we're now in a situation where this president is in a position that he doesn't know what he's doing. If you notice what Donald Trump has spent a lot of time doing, he spent a lot of time rolling out irresponsible corporate tax cuts in the meantime. Do you realize that during this pandemic, the billionaires in America, billionaires, they're all listed, have made over $300 billion more? $300 billion more? How about you guys? You're all doing great, right? You got all that money. Look, folks, we're in a situation where the president now finds himself, the thing that bothers me most about all he's done is the way he talks about our military being suckers and losers. Yeah. Think about this. A lot of you women and men served in the military. A lot of Wisconsinites served. My son, Bo, gave up the Attorney General's job in the state of Delaware to volunteer to go to Iraq for a year. He won the Bronze Star, the Conspicuous Service Medal. He came home with cancer after being near burn. He came home anyway. He's given months to live. And guess what? He wasn't a loser. He wasn't a sucker. He was a patriot. Just like your sons and daughters, your parents and grandparents. Look, folks, if you ever wonder, you know, Trump keeps talking about how strong he is. He's strong, and the rest of the nations listen to him. Everybody's afraid of him. Well, let me tell you what. He's the first president I'm aware of in American history that 6 generals, including his former chief of staff, 6 of them left, resigned, and said he wasn't fit to be commander-in-chief. General Stanley McChrystal, Special Operations Commander. He's the guy that oversaw the bin Laden raid. Bill McGraven. And 22, he oversaw. He was the SEAL. He headed up the SEALs. And 22 4-stars have endorsed me, saying they trust me to be the next commander-in-chief of the United States military. Folks, it's about respect. It's about support. And that's why the Military Times, which the staff tried to wipe out, Military Times just wrote an article saying more active duty troops support Biden than Trump. So much for the guy who talks about what a tough guy is and why everybody listens to him.